Thank you, Chairman, and welcome, Your Honor. It's good to have you here in the
Thank you.
Judiciary Committee. I just wanted to flag that it is increasingly, it seems, the view of some of the members of this committee that a candidate for a position on the bench needs to come before us accessorized with a judicial philosophy. And I want to state my disagreement with that principle. I think that the Constitution and the law, and if you're having any trouble with the language, the dictionary, and some good common sense and adherence to precedent are about all that a judge needs to get it right. And that once we start hearing about judicial philosophy, the next thing we hear about is originalism. And originalism is a doctrine that imparts a strong political overlay on judicial decisions. So not only do I disagree with my respected colleagues that having a judicial philosophy is important, I also think that to the extent that that judicial philosophy is originalism, it is a political signal that is actually inappropriate for judges to bring to the bench. Clearly, an originalist reading of the Constitution takes you back to a time before there were big corporations, before there was any need for consumer protection, before there was any need for antitrust protection, before there was any need for regulation of major polluters. So obviously, to go back to a world before there was a need for any of that sets up a framework where you can attack, or from which you can attack, the regulatory infrastructure that we've constructed to protect people from those big corporations. And I think that many of the proponents of originalism actually have that very proposition in mind when they promote the theory of originalism. So I would simply urge you that there is absolutely no requirement that you come here with a judicial philosophy other than a simple, honest approach to the documents and principles that I've described. And I just want to make that clear because we're hearing more and more about the importance or the necessity or the need or the propriety of judges having a judicial philosophy, which almost inevitably turns out to be what I consider to be a very flawed philosophy and a very political philosophy, which is originalism. You obviously have spent a lot of time doing trials, and that means you've obviously spent a lot of time with juries. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I go back to the founding era when juries were an incredibly important institution for the founders. It was part of the complaint against the British occupation of the U.S. That the British governors had interfered with the right to trial by jury. And if you look at the discussions as we built our Constitution, the preeminence of the importance of the right to trial by jury was really accepted by all. And in fact, there was a huge row when the Constitution was developed and didn't protect the right to trial by jury, and they had to put it into the Bill of Rights in order to get support and move forward. So if you could say just a few words about the importance of the jury, not only as an appendage of the court, a fact-finding appendage of the court, but also as an institution in our system of American democracy. Blackstone, who was probably the person to whom the founders most referred for legal principles, said that the jury was an important bulwark to protect against the power of the most wealthy and powerful in society. And there are obviously a lot of reasons why a jury will do that. How do you feel about juries in that light? Are you willing to protect them as an institution in our democracy?
Thank you, Senator. Over the course of my career, I have had the opportunity to interact with juries, obviously, by being a trial court judge. Juries bring an impartial, fair, unbiased perspective to our judicial system. They are the backbone of our judicial system, and the jury system works. I am often amazed at how our forefounders came up with a system that works today in seeing jurors interact, 12 people who come from different communities, able to come together and make a decision. So as I stated, the jury system in our country is the backbone of our judicial system.
Thank you, Chairman. My time's expired. Thank you, Judge. I wish
Thank
you
you.
well.